Welcome to Bettering Our Community. My name is Suzanne Bernier Robinson. I'm glad you could join us for today's show with Home Helpers. I have with me Bonnie Roberts, President of Home Helpers, and Jan Sippel, Director of Community Relations. Welcome, ladies.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate this opportunity.
It's a pleasure
Bonnie,
to be here.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a little bit. What is the mission of Home Helpers?
Plain and simple, to serve others in the community through difficult and challenging times, and to be the best, most trusted home care provider in Southern New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how long have you been operating in Southern New Hampshire?
Well, actually this month we're celebrating our 5th year anniversary. We started in January 2009.
Great. It's gone by fast, I bet.
Oh, in a blink of an eye.
Well, how about some of the services that you provide?
We are licensed through the state as a home care service provider, and that means we can provide transportation, companionship, homemaking, and personal care as well. You know, assistance with the what we call activities of daily living, things such as bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, and feeding. So a wide range, a very wide range.
And I think it would be helpful maybe if you define what a caregiver, how would you define a caregiver?
Oh dear. A caregiver is someone who truly wants to serve others, that they are compassionate, caring, and really want to make a difference in someone's life. Most of our caregivers happen to be licensed nursing assistants, but you certainly don't have to be, because we're a non-medical agency. It's not required to be an LNA, but it's certainly a lot of our caregivers are. But we have others that are just have a strong desire to make a difference, and we do all the training if they're not, if they don't have that LNA certificate. We provide all the training and ongoing training as well. So just someone with what I call a servant's heart or a servant's attitude, that because sometimes our caregivers are, they become really members of the family. That when people have family, we're an adjunct member. When the people, a lot of times, don't have family around. And so we become very much a part of their lives. And so just really having that compassionate.
So as a caregiver, you're working closely with the families.
Oh, yes.
What we see, Suzanne, a lot of times is that the caregiver becomes that person for the family that can see some things, know some things that the family's not aware of, because the family's maybe out working.
Oh,
They have lives of their own. They have children of their own. Many of the families, have the senior at home, loved one at home, or someone that has been in rehab or ill, and then they still have young children. So there's so much going on. So that caregiver becomes almost like a second set of eyes and ears to really see some of the things that might happen throughout the day with that particular client. And it's more like a feeling of comfort for the family to know that there is that person there that can make their life easier. That's one of our statements, is we make life easier. So to have that person there just to make life easier and to make that person feel safe, basically, safe, healthy, and happy in their home or wherever they might call home.
And it's that comfort too, I guess, for the family to know that they're with someone that they can trust. It almost sounds like you would give a report at the end of the day or fill in the family on...
Oh, we're required by the state to
are
do
you
care
required
notes,
by state?
And as long as the client has given authorization, because we are governed by HIPAA laws as well, so as long as we're allowed to share with the family. But as Jan brought up, when the family is there, but oftentimes the family's not there. They're geographically separated.
Oh,
and
wow,
so
right.
we really become very important to the family. I know from firsthand experience what that's like when, you know, it's so ironic. Here I own a home care agency here in New Hampshire. When my mother needed help out in Omaha, Nebraska, which is where I'm from, or out in that area, I had to go home and set up home care for her out in Nebraska. And it was, so I wanted to make sure, and how scary is that? We're very lucky here in in New Hampshire that we are a licensed state. I had even more appreciation for that after I went home and set it up for my mom, because Nebraska is not. So there's no oversight out there. So it was disconcerting, let me tell you. So I came back with a whole new level of appreciation for the state of New Hampshire and how the safeguards that they put in place for the safety and security of our residents and our businesses as well. So.
Right. Wow. I'm surprised that there aren't in all states those measures.
Oh, believe me, no. All states are not created equal in that regard.
Well, what are some of the instances of where someone would need a caregiver? I mean, mostly what comes to mind is someone who's elderly and perhaps they have fallen and they're recovering from maybe a surgery or...
Sure. We do both short and long term. So certainly seniors who need someone coming in on a regular basis. But we also do short-term rehab, and we serve clients of all ages.
That's what I was wondering, if it could be maybe, you know, a child that is fighting an illness where the parents need to work, or...
if there's an injury, an illness, or a lifelong challenge, such as, I mean, we've had clients with cerebral palsy, with multiple sclerosis, who have vision problems, and they don't need constant help, but they just need someone to come in on a periodic basis, a routine basis, just to help with those things that are challenging for them. And they're perfectly able to live independently in the community, but they just need that extra helping hand. And so we're happy to do that for them. But again, for the short term, we had one situation comes to mind that we had a client who had no family in the area. He was just a few years older than me, and he needed knee surgery. Well, his surgeon would not schedule the surgery until he could prove that he would have somebody with him for the first 24 hours following the surgery, because he needed some, you know, wasn't able to move around.
Right.
And so he hired us for that 24 hours and was able to prove it to the surgeon. They scheduled the surgery, everything went swimmingly, and done and done. And so it can be very short term, you know, following rehab and, you know, or hospitalization or a rehab, or it could be longer term.
One of our programs is called Helping Hands, and that it could be just for a short period of time. When someone has come home from the hospital, we have a hospital to home program also. Many times if someone is coming home from the hospital, they're not able to have a family member drive, or as Bonnie said, you know, there's no geographical family here. So one of our caregivers can go, pick them up, bring them home from the hospital, stop on the way and get prescription drugs, get them home safely, make sure they're okay, check the refrigerator, do things like that. We also, another thing that a lot of people don't think about is that we provide respite for a family member that is a 24/7 caregiver.
I was just going to ask.
Yes,
I mean, because I bet you encounter a lot of families that are trying to care for a loved one by themselves.
Right, and those are the ones that actually, they can come to a point of getting burnt out, because if it's someone that, say someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, so that is constant safety supervision and doing things for them, or even if it's someone that has had an injury or an illness and needs care for a month or so at home, that particular family caregiver has to take time off of work.
Right.
You know, has to devote so much to that particular person, to their loved one. And so we can go in there and give respite to that person so they can be able to take a break, a much needed break for their physical health, for their mental health and emotional health. And they can just, if they want, go to a movie or go pay the bills or just go to do something that they really need to do, and yet feel comfortable and safe knowing that there is a qualified, licensed agency in there to spend time with their person that they love.
Right. And I'm sure overall with that help of someone coming in, even if it's just once a month, it is such a blessing to that family and for them to kind of re-energize themselves.
We had a situation that we started off with with the Caregivers Care program, which is on just an as-needed basis, that respite care. And then as the loved one's health declined, then we went in on a more regular basis. And then as that client moved into a hospice situation, then we were even longer. And then it was, you know, so we went, it's what I call accordion care, that we can expand and contract services as need be.
Right.
We're very flexible in that regard.
What are some of the rewards and challenges of being a caregiver?
Well, there's
both.
there's absolutely.
Yeah, I was thinking there
both.
must.
Yes, when I talk to some family members, they will actually tell me that they never realized how wonderful it would be for their loved one to have the caregiver, and that they did not realize sometimes the strength that the caregiver can give to that person just by making their quality of life better, because they know that that caregiver cares so much about the person, because they really do. And they can bring out things in that person. They can bring out some joy. They can bring out, you know, memories. They can ask them questions. Even just the companionship part of it is so important to, especially to the client, but also to the client's family. You know, they seem to draw out things out of a client that may have been hidden.
Right.
You know, and to know that someone really cares about them and wants to ask questions about their life is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, because sometimes family is sometimes a little too close. They've heard the stories, and so it's nice to have a fresh set of ears. And oftentimes, too, unfortunately, when family comes over, and this is what I think is the biggest reward of all, is that it allows the daughter or the son to be the daughter or the son, and not the caregiver. So that when they're over, they're not doing the chores or doing the grocery shopping or doing those the tedious things, the homemaking things. That's all done. They're just allowed to come over and visit, because that is what the loved one really wants from their family member, is the attention.
Yes.
Not necessarily the custodial chores.
And it's so easy, unfortunately, to tune out a loved one.
Yes. And sometimes we're hardest on those we love the most, because we feel safest with them. And so we can bring out some of those more challenging behaviors with our loved one. Whereas you bring in, you know, a third party, you know, someone that comes in with those fresh eyes, those fresh ears, with the, again, that compassionate heart. And it does, like Jan said, brings out a whole perspective, and it's, so those are definitely the rewards.
Right.
Absolutely challenges. People, it's oftentimes when we come in is at a crisis point. So there is a crisis, or there is the crisis of an injury, or a severe illness, or a hospice situation. So it's sometimes just by the nature of the situation, that's what it brings a challenge, because people, when you're not feeling well, you're not at your best, you know, or you know. So, but we see all sorts of situations. And
so, do you go through a process of interviewing with the family first to decide which caregiver may be a better fit, or?
Oh yes, we have. We start obviously usually with the phone call, they call and ask for services. So we're talking then. Then we'll arrange for a home consultation, a free home consultation. We'll go out, we'll introduce ourselves. Jan or I do the intakes typically, or the consults. And then we, excuse me, as we learn what the needs are, and we're introducing ourselves, the company, and that type of thing. And then typically like to step back, let the family think about it. I always suggest that people interview 2 or 3 agencies, because this is a very intimate relationship. And we're very lucky, going back to the licensing in New Hampshire, we're very lucky because the level of professionalism across agencies in this area, we're just very lucky. Between Jan and I, we know about all the other, we know all the other agencies and are very comfortable saying that of the high level of care. So because we're all very competitive in terms of what we offer, the cost points, those types of things, now you want to get into who are you most comfortable working with,
right?
Because the success of any relationship is based on communication. So it needs to be someone that you're comfortable communicating with, talking about problems, issues. We go through, again, very intimate relationships.
I was going to say, it sounds like some of the most trying times in maybe a family's or person's life.
Absolutely.
With the different
so once they do, after the consult, and hopefully they've interviewed a few agencies, then they call us back.
Right.
And but then we'll go out, if they decide to go ahead with services, then we'll go out and do an intake, and then that's when we do the paperwork, because that licensing, right, equals paperwork. And so we do the intake, we capture the all the signature documents, that HIPAA, the home care client's Bill of Rights, the plan of care. That's when we get into the nitty-gritty on what's needed, and then we come back, put them in the system, and then we can, start care usually within a very short period of time, within just a couple of days.
I think what we feel that we do best, and what we really is one of our goals, is to take the fear out of this whole thing, because when most people think, oh my gosh, I can't do it all myself, or my loved one needs help, or if it's the person themselves, I know I just got out of the hospital and I can't do my chores, or I can't take a shower by myself, and oh my gosh, I have to have a stranger come into my home, so it can be daunting for the family or the person to think of having someone that they don't know come into their home. So what Bonnie and I try to do at that assessment is to take all of that away. I mean, I feel my biggest job is make them feel comfortable with me, make them feel comfortable with home helpers, help them to understand what we do, that we're licensed, that we're there just to help them, to make things easier for them, and to offer, not only that, but to offer information to them when they don't know where to turn for certain things.
Right.
If it's something we cannot help them with, we will tell them to call ServiceLink, to call another social services agency or a social worker. So we can give them some of that information. And I can actually sometimes see it during the assessment that they relax as we're talking, and they can say, oh, I didn't realize that it was like that. And we want to let them know it's an easy thing to do.
Right.
We don't sell services. We offer peace of mind, basically. And Jan's been in this industry and for, 15 years, 17, something. She's lost track. And so she has a lot of contacts. I am networked out
So
the
I know, this is a good
I have
transition.
a very, very strong network
know
in
how
southern New Hampshire.
busy you are. You're an amazing woman with all the activities that you do. So that's a great lead-in into some of the events and community services that you provide to the community. I know it's the Veterans Connection, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think, as far as I know, I'm still the only veteran-owned agency in southern New Hampshire. Anyway, I'm a veteran
In this field?
in this field.
Yes.
In this home care agency.
Yeah.
But I spent 22 years in the Navy and combined active and reserve service. So, and I retired as a chief petty officer. Chiefs know that our mission in life is to take care of our people. So I'm just.
Oh, you've just transferred.
I'm just transferred. I'm still taking care of my peeps, and I have a very a deep passion for continuing to serve my fellow veterans. And so I have. I'm on the Caregivers Advisory Board through the the VA Medical Center up in Manchester.
Okay.
And I used to be the community co-chair of the Veteran Community Partnership. Unfortunately, that was disbanded recently. But we're continuing on through these other advisory groups that we have, that we established through the Veteran Community Partnership. And but being able to be that person that people can call when they have a question on where do I go for veterans resources, what do I do? They can go to my webpage or they can call. I've done workshops in the community on, in fact we just did one over in Londonderry through the Elder Affairs Committee on the how to get enrolled up at the VA Medical Center and what are some of the resources up there that that people can, veterans and their spouses may be able to tap into. And I'm happy to do that. And I'm going to be doing a similar one later on this month down at Greystone Farm, and we're still working on that, Greystone Farm at Salem. And so I do work a lot with veterans in the community. And I'm also the event chair for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life of Greater Derry, Londonderry, and that is one of my passions.
Well, you have done a wonderful job at that event, because I know that the one here in Derry, in the Derry Londonderry Relay for Life, is one of the top events in the state?
Yes, we're the second largest.
The second largest in bringing in funds, right?
Bringing in funds, and we are the 23rd largest out of, this was 2013 numbers, ranked 23 out of 236 relays in all of New England. So I'm very proud of that.
So
very proud of that. But it's not me, it's not the planning, it's the community.
Right.
We have such a generous community, people who are have been touched by cancer, who know people who have been touched by cancer, and they really want to have a vehicle in which to fight back and to feel like they're making a difference, which they do. And just a little plug, our kickoff, happens to be next Tuesday night, January 14th, already, because we kick off in January, and then that starts the 6 months of relay season. So our kickoff is at the Sport Zone here in Derry, and everybody's invited who wants to just learn more about Relay for Life. The actual event will be the 27th of June, starts at 6 in the evening and goes through 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Camping out for a cause. It's a fun night. We have DJ, games, you know, all sorts of wonderful things. So if you want to be involved or you know, either on planning or having a team or being on a team, or just want some more information about it, come to the Derry Sports Zone next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and we'll be happy to give you that information.
Why don't
And
you
if you
give
know
me
of a
your
survivor.
phone number too, if someone has questions about Home Helpers or about
Sure.
Relay for Life, they can. Is that okay if they call you on that number?
Oh, absolutely. It's 603-845-3333. Very easy.
That's easy.
845-3333.
Easy number.
So, absolutely.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to cover that we've missed, maybe? I know you're on the, are you still on the, are you the new president of
the Chamber of Commerce?
I thought I heard that. That's right.
Yes.
So that is just started. Good
That
for you.
just started
You go, girl.
on January 1st. I'm the president of the
Wow,
board
one more thing.
for the Chamber of Commerce and the Derry Londonderry Chamber. We have, and just extremely excited about that opportunity as well. We have so many exciting things going on in the Chamber, so many events and professional development opportunities. Right now, we are in the midst of a membership drive, and are just, just so you know, the rates are going to be going up at the end of January. So this is the last opportunity for people to come in on 2013 prices, and we have a lot of great incentives for joining right now. So, but very, very proud of what we've done with the chamber over, and where we're heading. It's very exciting.
How many classes and workshops and events and seminars. I mean, it just is endless what they've been doing there.
Yes, very exciting. Very exciting time
for everybody.
Yes, yeah, business over. You can't do the business after hours. We start with business over coffee. We have the Leads luncheon, Leads and Referral luncheon twice a month.
The young professional group.
Young professional. Oh, they're phenomenal. Yeah. They're great, and they have an event coming up next week as well at the Halligan Tavern, and so just there's something for everyone.
I think one of the things we're proud of too is that we don't. Well, we love what we do. We love what we do so much that we don't want to just be there doing those things that we do. We want to be out in the community too, to let people know that we are concerned about what goes on in our community. I myself have been involved in a lot of different committees, such as the Derry Area Senior Health Fair that happens every year for the seniors, and it's quite a major undertaking. And I've been on that committee for about 7 years. I've been involved in something called Elder Rap, where a group of professionals in the healthcare industry, it could be doctors, nurses, it could be social workers, community caregivers, all kinds of different agencies get involved.
I think it is real evident how busy you both are. I see you at a lot of the events I attend, and every time I do, it's just one more thing you've added to your plate. So you're both amazing ladies.
Well,
thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. It's
thank
been
you
a
for
pleasure.
having us. We really appreciate the opportunity.
I want to thank you for joining us today also for bettering our community. My name, once again, is Suzanne Bernier Robinson. Thank you for watching Derry Community Television.